Hey there, you found Off the Water, the premier kayak fishing show for the Gulf Coast. We interview the best anglers to find out what they did, where they went, and what they used. Fishing reports, cool products and accessories, upcoming kayak tournaments, kayak safety, rigging tips and tricks, sponsor highlights, club member specials, and more, all on Off the Water, live and podcast. And now, here's your host of Off the Water, Mr. Sean Rastanis.
Hey everyone, welcome back. 2023, here we are, January 10th, 2023. The fishing season is about to begin. It's just crazy, this weather. It's been unusually warm. I can't believe we're sitting here in January. I'm walking outside in shorts. We're fishing. The trout bite has been really good. Actually, the fishing's been really good if you've been able to get out there. Very different from November this year when we had the championship for Bayou Coast and that miserable weather we had in Cocodrie. Of course, the reason why we had that bad weather was because we were fishing a tournament. As we all know, bad weather and tournaments go hand in hand. So tonight we've got a great episode. I am sorry for the late notice, but what happened was we were so excited about this news. We wanted to get it out there. And our special guest, Justin Ling, wasn't available tomorrow night. I said, you know what? Let's do it tonight. People will be on there, and they can rewatch it tomorrow if they want. We've already got a number of people on here now. So what I'm going to do, though, is I want to bring on somebody here, a new officer to the club. He's also our sponsor coordinator. He's been working very hard behind the scenes since December. If you don't know, you know, the president, the tournament directors, we get all the glory. But honestly, if it wasn't for the sponsor coordinators we've had in the past, none of this stuff happens. They work endlessly, tirelessly to get out there, get on the phone with people, send out emails to get the really nice things that we're able to offer as prizes and also in our raffle. So this year we have Matt Dearman is our lead sponsor coordinator from Bayou Coast. I'm going to bring Matt on right now. He's going to join us. There he is. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right, perfect.
You have got a nice setup back there. I'm impressed. The rods on the wall hanging. I see that plaque in the background. Is that a second place plaque?
That's Fallen Tide from the Hobie World's year. So
Hobie World's year, you're right, and you're still fingers crossed. You know, in case something happens to first place, she's involved in some kind of controversy or she can't fulfill her obligations.
Those are not my words.
Right. You are able to step in, you know, as we all do. I forgot the most important part. The views expressed herein are solely those of mine and my guests. They have no affiliation with Bayou Coast Kayak Fishing Club, Swamp Country Kayak Fishing Club, any of their sponsors, anybody else. All the stupid shit I say is mine, and I take full responsibility for it. Thank you very much. I get in trouble sometimes. Well, the club gets in trouble for the stupid things I say. So I have to give that warning now, you know, as we do. So Matt, you've been working behind the scenes. You've already reached out to a bunch of sponsors. And we're going to talk about Minimalist a little bit. But I know we've got another guy on here. Justin's been a guy that's been fishing with us. He's not new to the kayak world. He used to work over at Massey's, and now he is managing a new outfit here in New Orleans. If you haven't been there yet, it's fantastic. I'm going to bring him on, and Matt's going to stay with us and join us because he's going to talk a little bit about Minimalist and what we got going on this year with the baits, also with the big announcements tonight. So I can't wait to get those, and I'm going to let Matt and Justin share the glory on that one. I'm just going to moderate. So let's bring Justin Lang on right now. Hey, Justin, how you doing?
Hey, good evening, man.
You're at the shop right now, I see, huh?
I am still at the shop, burning that midnight oil.
Burning the midnight. What you got behind you? I see some.
That's all of our fly tying material wall.
Yeah. So tell us now. Okay, we've got to get the full introduction. We got people on watching and everything. Where are you at? What are you doing? What kind of hours? What can we expect when we go to the store? And Justin is just for everybody. Well, you know what? I'm going to let you talk about it. Give us the full scoop.
Sure. We're located at 1926 in Metairie. We're right across from the Hurwitz Mints and the Cox building, if you're familiar with the area.
That's on Airline Highway.
It's on Airline Highway.
Yeah.
We are a full-service fly shop in paddle sports, more inclined to kayak fishing. We are pretty much the only fly shop in the region. You do have some other stores that carry some fly tackle, but we're the only full-service one. I have a full fly caddy, fly tying materials, rods, reels, line, backing, leaders, and tippet. Carry a full line of fishing-specific gear and apparel, fish pond, Grundens, Bahio, Orvis, Lamson, Temple Fork Outfitters, a lot of recognizable brands that a lot of our listeners would be familiar with. Our operating hours right now are 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday. We are looking at being closed on Sundays for now. As many of you might be aware, it's really only me kind of skippering the ship right now, and it's rough. I have a few people that have been helping me out here and there in the shop when I can get it, but for right now, we're considering being closed on Sundays.
Yeah,
you've been busy, man. That wall behind you's gotten a lot fuller in the past couple of weeks.
Man, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I just put out, and there's a lot of stuff that still needs to be put out. Today was one of the days I had help in the shop, and I spent the entire day locked away in my cell, which is my office upstairs. And all I do is data entry, input inventory, and make sure everything's tagged and listed properly. And then I have to come downstairs and merchandise it all. And I'm not the strongest merchandiser. I'm like an angler and kayaker first, and I'm a retail dude like second.
So let's talk real quick about the services that y'all offer. So obviously you sell stuff, and we're going to talk about some of the things you sell there. But in addition to selling items and merchandise, y'all also do repairs. Is that right, on kayaks?
Yeah, we can do any sort of repairs you might need. We can warranty any of the hulls we carry here. Specifically would be New Canoe and Old Town. I can do any sort of installations, whether that be marine electronics, or if you have deck matting you need installed, or any other sort of rigging. Basically, if you have a wish or a want to have some sort of rigging application on your boat, you're always welcome to come in. And even if it's not something I can sell to you, I'd be more than happy to discuss it with you, throw some stuff against the wall and see what sticks. Any sort of service that I can help provide to get you on the water, that's what I'm willing to do. Some of the other services we provide, of course, I put backing on everybody's reels. Any sort of rod repair, I have contacts for that. Some of the other things that we are going to provide but are not necessarily ready yet are kayak storage, which I think is unique to the area. Right now, I am in the process of having our warehouse converted to include storage racks for kayaks. And one of the services we'll provide is a storage facility. So for some of our listeners, the guys or gals that live in an apartment complex, or the wife or husband is just sick of the kayak taking up space in the garage, we will be able to provide a space not only to store it, but included with that service would be, nominal rigging of certain things, as well as power washing the boat before we put it up in storage, stuff like that. We have big plans for a lot of stuff.
Wow. So so you can install things such as fish finders and GPS, things of that nature? Yes.
So we are also partnered with Trolling Motors Unlimited.
Yeah.
They are a big marine electronics and propulsion business over in Chalmette. So you can also purchase trolling motors through us. We can have those installed. We can also have trolling motors serviced, not just for kayaks, but for your actual watercraft, whether that be a boat. We can do many of that services.
Justin, does it just have to be kayaks that you sell, or like if I have a Hobie or a Native, can I bring those in and you can service those as far as installations and stuff?
No, absolutely not. It can be any type of watercraft. I really wanted to not only be inclusive, but provide any sort of solution for any hull, right? Like I know a lot of guys, they have their preferred brands. So I have a lot of repeat products in a lot of similar brands. We know that Railblazer and Yak Attack tend to blend into each other, right? One guy might prefer a Railblazer rod holder. Another gentleman prefers a Yak Attack rod holder. I was sure to carry as many brands as I could and as many different products from each brand because we all have our preferences. So even though I don't carry Hobie here, I have plenty of Hobie accessories, things from Burley Pro, Yak Gadget, things like that. So it doesn't really matter what haul you skip or anything that you're trying to do, I can help facilitate.
That's awesome. You know, it's nice having a place where you can go to and you really want to be able to talk to somebody about the, you know, I know sometimes when I'm like wanting to rig something on a kayak, you know, I have to make phone calls. Well, what should I do? What do you recommend? You know, you can't do that online. I mean, you go online, you can buy stuff. I don't like buying stuff online for the simple fact that, one, I want that local business here because I want to be able to ask questions. You know, I want to be asked questions and someone who knows what they're doing rather than going online. And I mean, if you know specifically what you want, you know, that's fine, I guess. But I still would rather just drive over there and pick it up. Not to mention I get to shoot the bull with you for a little while and keep you company, you know, and do that. But I also like that input. Like, look, I've had people tell me when I'm going to these stores, look, we've got this. It's really expensive. This does the same thing. It's half the price, you know? Yeah. So you should consider this product or this. And then if you have to troubleshoot something, you know, I don't have any skills. That's why I went to school, to college, to law school. I'm not handy with my hands, you know? So I have to rely on others to do that crap for me. So that's why I appreciate people like you. And again, like Brock does a great job. Installations over with Louisiana Custom Kayaks and the people over there at Backpacker. And so, you know, it's great having another source, another person to go to. Now, you've kind of really taken a different thing. You are really big into the fly fishing aspect, and y'all have got a whole setup over there where people can learn to tie flies and to do things like that. Is that correct?
Yes. So being inclusive in the kayak community, I also wanted to be inclusive in the, you know, two of my greatest passions, and I'm very lucky to be able to do it every day now. A lot of the things we provide is demos. I have rods here. You're more than welcome to demo any rods I have for sale and see what fits you the best. I can literally sit here and talk for hours about the nuances of it, go over all the reels, the types of line, difference between floating and sinking, intermediate. So it's a really good place for you to nerd out, not just for fly fishing, but for kayaking. I'm actually sitting right now in what is our lounge area. I wanted to be sure to provide a space in the shop where you don't have to come and shop here. You don't have to make a purchase to be welcome here. You're more than welcome to just come in and sit. I have a lot of regulars that come in on their lunch breaks and hide out here, and we talk about fishing, not just fly fishing, but conventional as well, kayaking and stuff like that. It's a good place for people to come together and share in their knowledge and experiences. And that's where we meet a lot of people who are looking to enter the sport of fly fishing. It can be somewhat intimidating. A lot of people are usually interested, have heard about it. You know, a really common thing I hear is like, yeah, I've thought about it a lot. I'm just not sure what to get, where to go. I'm not sure to go how about entering the sport. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm here. I can answer questions, but again, like I have a lot of people come and hang out just to chill out and kill some time. The other day, I had Mr. Ted Cabali, who is a lot of local fly anglers are aware who Mr. Ted is. He was a staple foundation, if you will, at Uptown Angler, which was our only regional fly shop for many years. He's actually one of the founding members of the New Orleans Fly Fishing Club.
Okay. And
he was here not yesterday, but the day before, I believe. And I had customers coming in and they had questions, and Ted jumped right in. So there's always a wealth of knowledge here that's accessible to anybody who wants to come in.
That's awesome.
I can second that too. If you see me, I think it's at the top. Is Fly Rod Justin hooked me up with a couple weeks ago. With the thinking there, and I'd encourage maybe all of our members, if you look at Massey's Fish Picks or even CCA Star, the fly fishing divisions don't have a whole lot of competition. So
yeah,
if you can get into that, you got a few less people to compete with, maybe a shot at winning something there.
There's even a lot of fly state records that are
kind
of up for grabs. They're large fish, but they're not impossibly large fish. We had, and that's really throughout the Gulf Coast. We had a fly fishing expo last year, and I think it was Ben Roussel had he caught what would have been the record for I think it was a pickerel on a fly in Mississippi, but and they caught it. And he was like, "That's a nice fish. Nothing to write home about, but it's a nice fish." And then he was showing us pictures afterwards, and then the biologist who was there was like, "That's the state record if you would have submitted." And he was like,
wow. How do those?
It's not common here.
Matt, how do those fly rods work with like a popping when you got like a 4 horseman tied on and you pop? You get good action with that rod. I know they tend to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, no, yeah, you 4 horsemen, and then definitely put the boom boom shrimp on there, and that's
the boom boom shrimp on it.
You've got fly fishing figured out.
As long as you
laugh, but it's very common for conventional anglers to have fly rods, and they use them as soccer leg poles, jigging poles for soccer.
Really? Well, they're long, right? They're long and bendy.
Use them like giant cane poles.
Yeah. I've always wanted to get into fly fishing, but I'm trying to master the. Right now, I've moved. I've got the spinning reels. Right now, I'm working on my talents on the bait casters because I curse them to the day I die. But I'm working on that, and I figure if I can get the bait caster mastered, my next step is to move over to the fly rod. I find that when you get old and you don't really want to catch a lot of fish, you just sit there and so I get a few more gray hairs. I'm going to switch over to the fly rod, and you'll see me in Justin's shop like those old guys at the coffee shop. Justin's going to become No Wake Outfitters going to become like the CC's coffee for the kayak anglers, right? And the fishermen. They're just going to be sitting around every Sunday morning or every Saturday morning, sipping their coffee, tying flies, not really buying anything, just sitting around and bullshit.
Well, I'm planning on getting we need to get a little kegerator or something for the shop. We don't need coffee.
We need to
beers and stuff.
Yeah, kegerator for sure. So, well, look, I know we got like a lot of people on right now. They're sitting here waiting. So we've got some big announcements. So for those that don't know, Dustin and No Wake Outfitters has come on board as a sponsor for Bayou Coast Kayak Fishing Club. And this year they are sponsoring not only the Angler of the Year series, but the Championship series as well. So, this has really added a lot to the pot this year. And, we'll add that. So I want to talk a little bit. Let's go to Angler of the Year first. So Angler of the Year, obviously, you have to fish the tournaments. You have to be a member of Bayou Coast, and you fish our 5 regular season tournaments, which this year will be Minimalist Challenge. I think then we've got Trout Challenge. Then we've got Dawn to Dusk, and then Redfish Rumble, and then the Championship. We do have one other tournament that's going to be out of state that doesn't count towards Angler of the Year, and that's our Navarre tournament. That's going to be our offshore tournament that hopefully, Justin, you'll be able to come down for. You got to take off.
People are getting excited.
I'm already making plans for it.
All right, yeah, you got to get down. I'm telling you, everybody I've talked to about the Navarre tournament, they're so excited. I know I'm excited. I could not fish any tournament all year, but that one I'm going to be at. Although I will be at all our tournaments.
Yeah, I'm already looking at like condos for the week.
We're renting beach houses in Navarre. I think Jonathan's on it or Francis is on it. We're going to have like the MTV beach house, right? But it's going to be Bayou Coast.
We need to get cameras installed for that. Y'all can Facebook Live that whole. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna have some people down there that's gonna help everybody out. I know I've already talked to Aaron Clay, and I think some of our Florida guys, hopefully Brandon Barton, Matthew Van, those guys, Denton Parrott will come out and help us out. It's gonna be a good time, and so and we'll talk more about that as we get closer to the summer. Right now we're in January, and so. So No Wake has agreed to sponsor our Angler of the Year, so as we talked about those 5 tournaments, you get to drop one, and basically you accumulate points by fishing each tournament. And the higher you finish, the more points you get. So first place gets 300 points, second place 299, and so forth. And you take your 4 highest tournaments, and then the winner this year, I'm going to let you talk about it. The one this year is going to
get this right here. So Justin, tell us what we got going on here.
So the New Canoe Unlimited is one of their newer hulls. I honestly consider New Canoe one of the best. I don't want to say starter kayak. It's more like an entry-level kayak, or even for a more experienced angler or paddler. They are very well price-pointed hulls with amazing functions and applications that is able to be rigged out for whatever you can imagine. They come in like a very sterile hull. The Unlimiteds have 22 feet of gear track on them. It's a very open space, very open deck plan, along with the 360 seat, which spins all the way around. So if you have tackle boxes in the back, or even if you want to put a trolling motor or even a 2.5 horsepower outboard on the back, you can kind of turn around more comfortably to hold the tiller handle. They are 12.5 feet long, 41 inches wide, and 84 pounds. So they have the stability of a pro angler, but they weigh about the same as an Outback.
Wow.
I consider these hulls to be really one of New Canoe's, like I consider it like a 4x4. It can accomplish any sort of applications you can come up with.
Yeah. And really, if people aren't familiar with it, you need to get by No Way can check this thing out in person. The picture, it looks cool on the website, but really seeing it in person, I was pretty impressed with it. You can drop 2 seats in it facing each other, kind of like the old Pro Angler 17s could do. So, me having a million kids, it's a great option there. It doesn't show it in the picture, but you can put a pedal drive in it. Tons of cool options that you really, really can't appreciate until you see it in person.
Absolutely. And that's why they named it the Unlimited. Your options are literally unlimited. New Canoe provides all kinds of rigging, and they like to cooperate with other aftermarket brands. So there's a lot of other aftermarket brands that translate over well to it. Like I personally skipper an Unlimited New Canoe, and I have the Boondocks landing gear on there. And New Canoe actually fabricates a plate that fits onto the gear track that allows you to install the knuckles without drilling anything into the boat.
So Justin, and Matt just mentioned something really interesting. Say you're just getting into kayak fishing, and you're not sure if it's what you're going to be into or not. You could start off with something like this, and then what's the retail on this particular kayak?
$1,800.
So $1,800. So you can start off with something like this, which is about half the price of an Outback. And then later on, if you decide, hey, I'm really into this, I want to upgrade and put on, say, a drive, you can add a drive to this?
You can add a pedal drive system. Their proprietary propulsion system is called a pivot drive. It's a prop drive, similar to Jackson and Old Town and Native. The only difference is that the prop itself is located in the stern of the hull. So it's a little bit speedier, and it turns on a dime, honestly. For such a large hull, the prop being in the back allows it to turn more quickly. It has to move less water before the actual hull itself moves.
Oh, that's interesting. That's one of the only kayaks, because the Native and the Jackson and the Hobie are all in the center.
They're all cockpit.
Yeah. So you can add the drive, and then later on, if you really want to get involved, you can go ahead and add a motor to the back to that as well.
Well, something for you, it's actually pretty common. Guys load up crab pots and stuff on them.
Oh, yeah.
A little outboard, and they just go piddle out into the middle of the bayous and drop pots.
That's awesome. And so with all this open space, so that's a great – I'm thinking when I see something like this with that open space and it's a paddle, I'm thinking automatically Reggio, Delacroix, areas with heavy grass.
Yeah.
That also for fly fishing, you've got all that space to drop your line. When you're fly fishing, nothing to really catch up in. It's a very clean-looking kayak. It's
also a very dry ride. Something common that I always heard selling kayaks is there's a lot of customers who have an aversion to what they call like riding wet, right? Like we all know that majority of the sit-on-top kayaks are self-bailing. And even though they're self-bailing, there usually is some water kind of sloshing around, especially if you're nearing the max capacity, the boat will sit a little bit deeper in the water. But with a tarpon scaling, which you can kind of see in this photo, and you can Google New Canoe Unlimited to get a better look at it. But the tarpon scale, little ruts you see in the deck, that allows water to bail out without it actually pooling up anywhere in the boat.
So again, this is the first prize for the Bayou Coast Angler of the Year. Normally we give it $1,000, and this year, thanks to Justin and No Wake Outfitters, we're able to offer this $1,800 kayak with the ability to upgrade to a motor, to a pedal drive system. It's a great starter kayak, but also giving you the ability to upgrade to a better kayak. So even if you're entry level and maybe you can't afford that pedal kayak, but you want to be able to upgrade later on, this is a perfect kayak. And I didn't know about that 360 seat. That's really cool, because sometimes when I'm putting fish away, I'm kind of turning around, and it's kind of a pain. But that's really nice.
It was super helpful. This weekend, we shout out to Southeastern Louisiana Kayak Club. We fished their tournament this weekend, and I was in the New Canoe Unlimited. Water was super low. The drive handled it like an absolute champ. The bottom skeg of the drive is aluminum, so I mean you can drag that all day. You're not going to break that or bust that up.
Oh, that's nice, especially for kayak. I know a few guys had some damages to their kayaks this weekend.
Yeah,
fishing that low water down there.
Jonathan.
There's Jonathan Carter.
But the 360 seat came in handy because although the drive handled the low water super well, man, I picked up somebody's bird nest. Somebody just decided to cut their bird nest out and throw it overboard. And
that's one of Sean's bait casters right there.
I didn't fish it, so it wasn't me.
But I picked it up and it got wrapped around my prop. Being in the 360 seat, once I realized what the problem was, I could literally just spin around in my seat and I could access the drive. And the drive is mounted on a jack plate on the stern of the hull, and it's just held in there by a little cotter pin. Undid the cotter pin, picked up the drive, and I could sit in that seat and I could pick out all the braid and mono and stuff that was stuck in there.
Yeah,
it was super easy, super convenient.
That's awesome. So
hey, that comes in like 5 colors, doesn't it? Like there's a bunch of options. You've got pretty much all of them available.
There is a bunch of colors. I even have the limited edition colors available. New Canoe's super popular with hunters. A lot of hunters these days are trying to get outside of the pressured zones and public land. Kayaks is one of the easiest ways to do that. So 2 of the unlimited colors New Canoe offers is the shadow grass and I think like a mossy oak woodland camo. I have both of those in store.
Nice.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the Bayou Coast Champion. So if you know or if you knew the club or just getting involved, so Angler of the Year totals your tournaments for the 4 out of 5 that you fish, your combined score for those 4 out of 5, and the person with the highest score at the end of the year gets Angler of the Year. But in addition, the top 15 from every tournament, the top 15 anglers from every tournament, except for Minimalist, and that's the top 20, qualifies for the Bayou Coast Championship at the end of the year. And that's more or less a winner-take-all type thing. We normally pay out at least 1 through 3, typically 1 through 5, depending on the number of people that enter and that qualify. So this year, in addition to a cash prize, the winner will be taking home this. Justin, tell us what do we have here? This is a pedal drive. It looks awesome. What do we have?
So this is the Big Water 132. It is another flagship of one of our premier brands here at the shop, Old Town. A lot of people will be familiar with Old Town. They made canoes for years. Really, really well known for their high quality canoes. And then they slowly slipped into kayaks a while back. And I tell you, they have really taken the industry by storm. By sales, I would say they're second to Hobie. They are very popular with the bass circuits. You'll see a lot of anglers in a lot of the professional bass tournaments and stuff. A lot of them skipper Old Towns. But just because they're more popular in freshwater does not mean that they don't have any saltwater or inshore applications. And that's really where the Big Water 132 comes in. It is one of their larger holes at 13.2. It is 36 inches wide. The big thing with the big waters is not only their size and stability, but the modularity of the rigging on the boat. There's a lot of boats you can buy that come with all the bells and whistles, but as I try to explain to some people, sometimes you're paying for features that aren't really applicable to where you're fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel Old Town really streamlines that and really only puts the necessities on the hull. You're not overpaying for features that you're never going to use. One of the big things that I want to draw attention to is that Old Town has lifetime warranties on their hulls.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Lifetime warranty on the hull. So I know a lot of you dudes dragging that kayak through the parking lot and just absolutely mistreating them. The Old Town hulls have a lifetime warranty, and the drives are warranted for 5 years.
The drives are warranted for 5 years?
5
years.
Wow.
Wow. Systems are warranted for.
That's huge.
Yeah,
I mean, you fish enough, everyone's going to have a warranty claim at some point.
Absolutely. It's pretty much unavoidable, especially when down here, we fish in very corrosive saltwater environments. And, I always preach to people to make sure you flush everything, wash everything after every time you exit the water. But like you said, it's an eventuality. It's not a if, it's a when.
Yeah, especially if someone like Johnson's using the kayak, because if Austin's using it, something's going to break.
Right. Hey, he hasn't broken anything in several weeks.
He hasn't been fishing in several weeks, I think. I think that's
yeah.
It's hard to break it when you're not fishing it.
He hasn't broken anything in a kayak, I should say.
Valid point.
Okay, that's a valid point. Yeah, nothing in the kayak. I agree. So, Justin, what is this retail for? This new canoe? The Old Town.
The Big Water retails for $3,250.
Okay, and what does it weigh? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
It is going to be a little bit more substantial, being an Old Town and a larger kayak.
A little more substantial?
It's about 120, if I had to.
Okay.
Spec-wise, it sounds like it falls right in between the Pro Angler 12 and the Pro Angler 14.
Yeah.
Kind of size-wise.
That's a really comfortable looking seat on it, too. It looks substantial. So they've got storage up front, obviously, in the front. What about what did they have storage anywhere else on there?
They do. Located behind the seat is actually a little dry box.
Oh, okay.
So you can store Plano boxes and stuff in there.
Nice.
Old Town is really, what's the word I'm looking for? Old Town is really good at making wiring as simple and easy as possible.
Yeah.
Their hulls are very conveniently designed to accommodate for batteries, transducers, fish finders. I always tell everybody you need to come and look at the autopilots, because the autopilots are literally plug and play.
Now tell us about the autopilots, because I know Jonathan. I try to keep up to date with as much as I can. But most of them into tournaments, and I try to work on that stuff. And so they're all into all the cool gadgets. Tell us about the autopilots. What is that?
The autopilot is their bestseller. It won Best in Show at ICAST a few years back. It is a cockpit center-mounted autopilot trolling motor. And when I was mentioning that it's literally plug and play, everything is already installed, wired. The trolling motor is completely removable. To install and uninstall, it's literally just a plug located at the bow. And the wiring goes through the length of the hull and ends in that dry box I was mentioning to you. So literally, once you purchase the hull, all you need to purchase is a battery, and the boat's ready to get out on the water. You don't have to wire anything. You don't have to drill anything.
So wait a minute. So this is an electric motor, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it drops into the middle where the drive goes?
It does.
Okay.
Similar to like if you've seen like I know Bixby has some that into a Hobie transom. It's similarly mounted.
And
but see, this thing's trolling motor, so it's got spot lock.
Yeah, it's got spot lock. You can control it with your lanyard. The autopilots also come with a rudder. Excuse me. So if you didn't want to mess with the lanyard right because your hand's on your rod, you could leave the trolling motor running true, and you can actually control the rudder with the control the hull with just the rudder in the back. If you didn't want to sit there and play with the.
Okay, so I've got some questions. So, like, I'll take my drive out and I'll have the trolling motor in, but at any time I could just pull the trolling motor out, put my drive back in if I needed it.
They are not interchangeable, to my knowledge.
Okay,
the drive and the trolling motor. Only because like you could, I suppose in theory, fit one in there, but the pedal drive hulls do not come pre-wired for a trolling motor.
Okay,
you would have to do some customization to a pedal drive hull and before you could put any sort of electronic.
Now, what about with the Old Town? Can I have a pedal drive hull and still install something on the back of it, like a torpedo or something like that? Or because so for instance, say like I'm fishing a Hobie tournament. Hobie allows them pre-fishing to use an electric motor, but it doesn't allow on tournament day. So, what kind of setup could I get for that, or can you with the Old Town?
So there is a way, I'm sure, to make them interchangeable. It would require some customization on your part, and that's going back to. I don't ever like to tell people no, that's impossible because I have seen some very clever and resourceful people,
right.
Some pretty innovative ways to get what they want. Whether that be I want something that they don't make, or I want to put something that's not supposed to go on something else. I've seen some guys fabricate some crazy stuff. So directly purchasing from me as a dealer, no, it doesn't do that. But I'm sure that we can come up with any solution to any application you might have.
Okay. Well, look, this is a fine-looking kayak. The BCKFC championship, the Bayou Coast champion, first place will get this in addition to some cash. It is an awesome prize, Justin. AOI, awesome prize. I think that might be the biggest AOI prize we've ever had. So that is fantastic. I know really kind of makes you going to work a little bit harder this year. At least I will, maybe.
Hopefully it sweetens the pot, gets enough people to make a more concerted effort.
Oh, it absolutely will. And look, the shop is fantastic. I've been in there. You sell clothes and water gear and fishing gear. You've got some artificial baits and lures and stuff in there in addition to the kayaks, in addition to the fly tying shop. So I know it's only going to get bigger and better, bigger and better as you grow. And so it's a great location. It's easy. It's very, very easy to get to. Plenty of parking right there. I'm really looking forward to having a shop so close to my house that I can pop in whenever. So let me do this. I'm going to get, I think the vice president of Bayou Coast is on. I'm going to bring him on. We're going to talk a little bit about Minimalist. And
real quick before we get into that, one other thing Justin's doing, trying to sponsor the whole championship series in addition to the kayaks. He's given us some gift cards for each tournament along the way. And the way we're going to use those is going to be kind of a cool new thing this year. Those are going to be given away basically like door prizes at the award ceremony, starting with Minimalist and then for each tournament. So even it happens to all of us sometimes. You have a terrible day, you go out there and skunk. Don't have to just go home and lick your wounds. Still come to the weigh-in, come to the award ceremony because you can still win a gift card to No Wake, even without catching a fish that day. So that'll be something else available every tournament along the series.
Absolutely, and I always encourage everyone to always show up to the weigh-ins just because that's where all the fun is. Yeah,
that's a great point. So Minimalist, obviously, everyone's going to be there already, weighing in their fish. We have a few tournaments that are CPR or CPS, Catch Photo Submit, this year. And we will have award ceremonies for those. So we'll probably block the results so you can't really see what's going on, or we'll cut off the leaderboard very early. just so everybody will want to show up, see what the results are, see what happened, see if they qualified for the championship. But if you show up, you're going to have to be present to win these gift cards. So it's a great incentive to come in there, and look. At one point, you're going to be the one winning, and you're going to want people there, hearing your name called out, and you walking up and telling about your day. And so it's just a good idea to show up and help. The great thing about that is we know sometimes not everyone can show up. You can't make it, for the full thing. So, we're gonna work on that as well. Okay, so look, Justin, feel free to stay on. You may want to chime in on some things. We're gonna go ahead and bring Austin Johnson on board. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the tournament we got coming up this weekend. I'll probably talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to get into Minimalist here. So let me bring him in. There he is. Hey, Austin, how you doing, Shed Guy?
What's going on, guys?
Good.
Made it home from the great city of Lafayette.
Lafayette, it's a good city. I'll be there next week.
Nice peaceful drive along the basin, I'm sure.
To be honest, I knocked off at about 5:30, so by the time I passed through, it was smooth sailing. There was no issues. I actually didn't even hit traffic crossing the bridge, which is not my ticket.
Yeah. Well, look, so you guys know we like to talk about a lot of fishing stuff. As y'all know, I also run the Louisiana BASS chapter for bass. We had our championship in December, and we qualified 3 guys for the championship, the national championship coming up here in March. They'll be over there competing in Tennessee, and we're going to root those guys on. So, but that's essentially the people that qualified in 2022. 2023, we've got our new schedule out already. If you want to check out something real cool, I have started a website for all the bass kind of fishing things that's going on, the local clubs, the national trails. There's an explanation about how they all work. So a lot of people coming on the bass scene don't understand, well, how does bass work? How does Hobie Bass Open Series work? How does Swamp Country work? How does Bay and Bass work? I've got an explanation in there, talks about all. I've got the schedules for everybody for all those 4 clubs on there. So you can go on and see where those tournaments are at. If you want to fish them, what you need to know about those tournaments and how they work. And that's swampcountrykayak.com. So feel free to take a look at that. Got a lot of club members on here that fish both series. So you can take a look. We got some great pictures in there. It's a whole different scene than Bayou Coast. It's really kind of cool, though, because you go out of state more. You fish a lot more out of state. But you also get to fish North Louisiana, Central Louisiana. And the great thing about it is it doesn't conflict. Being that I'm able to schedule tournaments for both clubs, I make sure that the tournaments don't conflict. So you'll never have a Bayou Coast tournament on the same day as a Swamp Country. So this weekend, actually, there's a tournament on False River, close to Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, everything. It's called the False River Run. It's going to be this Sunday, January 15th. You can obviously check out the swampcountrykayak.com, and I'll talk about it. It is a CPS tournament. You don't keep your bass on these bass tournaments, but you're going to picture your 5 best bass, submit as many bass as you want, and we have some great prizes and plaques and stuff that we're giving out. So that is on tourneyx.com. You can look it up. Obviously, you have questions, you can email me or text me about it on Facebook. So feel free to sign up. We've got some guys already signed up there. It should be a lot of fun. Hopefully the weather is looking okay for that series. For Bayou Coast, the very first tournament of the year is coming up January, I think, January 28th?
Yep.
Two Saturdays from Saturday. And it's moving back to its origins, back to Leeville, shotgun launch. And everybody's got to launch from the same spot. Now, once you put it in the water, you can pedal anywhere you want, cross the road. You can cross levees. You can cross wherever you want. But you cannot get back in your car and drive up the road. So, look, the weather's been really good. We're hoping it stays a little warm. If it does, the trout will be out. I'll tell you, I was able to go out last week with Benjamin Day, and actually Matt met us out. We put the hammer down on the trout and the redfish. Ben even caught a flounder. in January, a freaking flounder out there. So unfortunately, we had a guide boat pull up on us, try to push us out our spot because they weren't catching anything. Me and Ben and Matt, we all circled it, and so we made sure that we weren't going to lose our spot. And I mean, it was rude. I mean, we had this one little spot we're catching fish, and he pulls right up on us and tells the people in the boat, "Hey, cast where they're casting." I'm like, oh, "This is crap." At the end of the day, there was enough fish for everybody.
Story of my life, and terrible.
The redfish were piled in this spot. I mean, they were piled in this spot. Every cast, it was a redfish. Even when the boat left, we finally got back into our spot. It was every cast. We caught trout 2.5 pounds. Redfish. Yeah. Most of the redfish were they were slot size. They weren't huge. 16, 17, 18 inches. I did catch one about 25, but they were piled up in there. And the flounder. So if it stays like this, it's going to be really, really good.
Just to comment on that, we went out 3 weeks, a month ago, a group of us, and I seen more redfish in Leeville on that day than I've seen in Leeville with every other combined trip. It feels like there's more redfish been because it was David. We were in a section of marsh where if we'd have stayed there all day, we could have caught every redfish in there because they were just everywhere. Like every time you turned a corner, there was 3 10. You could see a wake over there, and then one has back out the water. So Leeville's redfish numbers have definitely gone up, and like Sean said, the way we could see some massive bags come out of it.
Yeah. That's been encouraging. The guys who fished Pack last weekend too have been hearing that these places that really fishing has been hard since Ida. It seems like the redfish are starting to come back. But Leeville, Pack, it's encouraging to hear. Yeah.
That is good.
Fishing's definitely coming back, but I really encourage people to do some pre-fishing just because of how much, so much of the terrain features have changed after the hurricane. I fished Leeville a lot before the hurricane, and then I only recently went back about a month or two ago. And I mean, it's the fishery's coming back, but a lot of stuff has changed. As with any storm, we always get a lot of erosion. Right, a lot of the islands and spots that we used to hit up, a lot of structure and transitions that we were more familiar with have now either totally been moved, covered up, submerged. I mean, it's crazy. So I encourage people to still go out.
There's square miles of marsh that's just messy. Like it used to be there, and it's just not there no more.
So I'll tell you this: we caught them on. We cut them on soft plastic, the trout and the redfish, free lining them without a cork. We caught them under a cork. The bigger trout came on the Maridines, as normally they will this time of year. The water temperature started at about 49 degrees. And we fished this one area, and I told Ben, I said, "Look, we just got to leave. This turn on. We just got to leave, though." So we went pedaling around the marsh, looking around. Found some really nice. Well, the water was really high. It wasn't. When I say high, I mean like we weren't dragging the bottom or anything. It was a normal water level. Didn't really catch anything. Came back. As soon as that water hit 53 degrees, 54, it all turned on. 54 was like the magic number that day because that's when everything turned on. Now the trout bite was pretty short. It lasted about 45 minutes to an hour, and then just like that, it was off again. They completely turned off. They picked up again about an hour and a half later. Another boat was up a little bit further up the canal. They started catching them. We were heading in. That was a little bit later morning. So I would just tell people, monitor if it's cold outside that day. Monitor those water temperatures if you're looking for trout. If it's under 50 that day, you're probably going to have a hard time catching trout. But you never know. If you're not catching them early, maybe wait, see if those water temperatures pick up, and then that bite may turn on 11, 12 o'clock. You never know.
And that's a good point because I've done it. you go out there and you don't get a single bite by 11:30, 12 o'clock, you almost want to call it and call it in. But this type of year, I definitely recommend fishing till you can't fish anymore, because who knows, it might be 1:30, 2 o'clock when the bite really kicks on and you've been sitting in your truck for 2 hours.
Yeah, that MC last year, I think hardly anybody had fish until after 11 o'clock.
Yeah, when we got on that magic school of the redfish, it was at 1:45.
Yeah, Matt, hardly anybody had fish last year at all. So no, that was really cold. It was really cold outside, and Jonathan picked out some really funny baits for red fishing in St. Bernard.
The melted crayon.
The melted crayon. I just don't. I don't
that
know.
Great green bait he chose.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with that. Which brings us to our next topic, Matt. The baits this year. What we got going? We can't tell you what they are, but maybe kind of tell us a little bit about the process of going about obtaining these baits and who we're obtaining them.
Yeah, I actually just about 5 minutes ago, I got a text. There was one left we were waiting on, and I think those are ready now. So pretty much everything's in. So this was, I guess, a few months back. The guys decided to try to make Minimalist this year entirely Louisiana companies. So we set up to do that, which is actually super easy to do. We got a lot of great Louisiana lure makers around here. All of them, love kayak fishing, love Bayou Coast. We're excited to help out, and we've got several of them on board. We've got a really good-looking bag this year. Kind of scares me a little bit. I have traditionally not done the best at Minimalist, and if you don't catch fish this year, I don't think you're going to be able to blame the bag, because there's some lures in there that are going to catch some fish.
And so this year we did something a little differently. They're all local companies, that manufacture baits here in Louisiana. These are people that all fish Louisiana waters. And this year, instead of me picking them out or Jonathan picking them out or someone else picking them out, I told Matt, I said, you know what, Matt, tell them that we are fishing in Leeville in January. This is what we're going for. Give us your best bait for this time, this area. So, and that's what they did. So they picked up the colors, they picked up the style, they picked up the jig heads, and they sent that to us. So I'm really excited because I've seen some of these baits, and these are some really quality, good-looking lures that I don't think anybody's going to have any complaints with. And so it should be a really good tournament. Now, you guys know that for the last few years, we've been decreasing as we move more towards the CPR and CPS tournaments. We've been decreasing the limits of the fish because honestly, 5 reds, 25 trout per angler, that's a whole lot of fish. You don't need to do that much in a tournament. But what we did do is we expanded the bag a little bit, So this year it's 2 reds, it's 5 trout, but you can also catch a slot drum, which is the same restrictions as the redfish, 16 to 27, and also sheep's head. Now look, those sheep's head out there, there's some big sheep's head out there. If you can find one, you can add 4 or 5 pounds to it. And if it's a cold day and maybe the trout aren't biting, you've got that option of going for sheep's head. You've got that option of fishing for drum. They're a little bit more challenging to catch on artificial, but you can do it. Absolutely, you can catch them on artificial. So
it creates interesting options. Because like you were saying, if the bite's hard, nobody's catching anything. A 27-inch black drum can be a big old fish. So if you're striking out all day long, don't give up. You hook up on one of those, and that could put you qualifying for the championship.
You could catch a drum, just one, and that may put you in the top 20.
I think it's a decision. It provides a good wild card.
But I have a family thing that's happening right now, and I really got to get out of here. But it was nice for all y'all. See y'all at Minimalist.
All right, awesome. See you, boss. In.
See you,
AJ. So we've got you've got a lot of different options. The trout stop biting. You can target the sheep's head. You can target the drum. You can target the redfish. So a lot of different things here to go out there. Do we know? Do we know what? How many we've got signed up so far, Matt, for Minimalist?
I haven't. We were in the upper 60s, closing on 70. That was probably a week ago.
Yeah.
So we've got some spots open.
Yeah, I mean, we got 3 weeks left, honestly, and I think what's going to happen is that week you got a lot of people waiting on the weather. They're going to wait to sign up, but I'm telling you, if you had any concerns about it, now knowing that you've got these great prizes for Angler of the Year and for Minimalist, I mean for the championship, you're going to want to get in just for that possibility.
If you don't fish Minimalist, you're behind Angler of the Year. You can drop one, but you lose your drop at that point. So
you lose your drop. You figure you're going to have a bad tournament this year. If you miss one, and look, I'll tell you, this tournament, you never know. You could take a full bag I'll take to win it. I've seen people with last year, I caught one redfish at Minimalist. That was enough to put me into the top 20 and qualify me for the championship.
Yeah.
You never know. It's one fish, not to mention you get those points for Angler of the Year. So it's very important that you come out there and you fish it. Not to mention you support the club, you support the sponsors. You get a chance of winning some free gift cards over the No Wake Outfitter. So that's another reason to come on by and do it. So anyway, aside from that, we're going to get on, obviously, probably either maybe before Minimalist or after, talk about our next tournaments. We've got some other things coming up. Matt, anything else we need to talk about? I think we covered most things already, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I know, if anybody can come out for Minimalist, a lot of us are going to be there Friday fishing. I don't know if there's any rooms left at Galliano Inn, but that's where a lot of people will be staying. Try to book one if you can. It's gonna be a really fun weekend. So
there's a place right across where we stayed. It's real nice. It's the gas station. I forget the name of the place. Do you remember, Matt? They've got the gas station. They've got the bar right there with the Italian little restaurant in there. It's really good. Yeah, so it's right across from Galliano, and it's right there. It's actually right across from the launch, actually. If you have any questions, you're looking for a place to stay, text the officers or post something up on Facebook. We can let you know. But, yeah, come down Friday night. People will be pre-fishing Friday. We're going to all be hanging out Friday night. Tournament is Saturday. I think we're going to probably have food served down in Leeville.
I don't think so.
No, we're not?
Maybe. I think it's still up in the air, but I don't know where we're at on that.
If I have any say so in it, we're gonna have some food served down there.
Sean's personally gonna give everyone food.
Some pasta or something. Everybody's gonna be hungry. Justin, are you gonna be able to fish it, or are you working that day?
No, I'm going.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm going. I took off that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So
that's awesome. So Justin will be down there. He's gonna be fishing with us. We got a lot of good people out there, so it's gonna be good. All right, guys, it's been an hour. It's been great. Justin, thanks so much for coming on. Can't wait.
Thanks for having me. It's been a privilege to be involved in any of this.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything you're doing for the club. But first year, you've already donated a lot of great things. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to going by your shop and watching it grow.
That's really just the beginning. I think when people go by the shop, they'll see, but I think there's some cool space there to we'll have some hangouts at some point with the club. A lot of space upstairs to maybe hold some seminars, stuff like that. So I think we'll do a lot more with No Wake moving forward.
Absolutely.
You'll be seeing a lot more of us.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. Matt, thanks for everything you're doing this year for the club. It's a big part. The club wouldn't be able to go on without, a sponsor coordinator like you and sponsors like you, Justin. So thanks again. And hopefully I'll see some of you guys out there this weekend for Swamp Country, or if not, out there in 2 weeks at Minimalist Challenge.
Thank you all so much. Y'all have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.